Hey guys, I want to react to some Jordan Peterson. Small caveat: I don't like this guy. Just being honest, but maybe this incel bait video. Why do nice guys finish last? Must watch. Will be something to be worth watching. I got a feeling that it's not. Let's see. Motivation madness. Cool.
If you ask a disagreeable person what he wants, say, or she wants, they'll tell you right away. They know. It's like, this is what I want, and this is how I'm going to get it. But agreeable people, especially if they're really agreeable, are so agreeable that they often don't even know what they want, because they're so accustomed to living for other people and to finding out what other people want and to trying to make them comfortable and so forth, that it's harder for them to find a sense of their own desires as they move through life. And that's not...
You're such a nice person that you're not your own individual person.
It's certainly not advantageous if you're going to try to forge yourself a career. That just doesn't work at all. And so even though on average men and women aren't that much different in terms of their levels of agreeableness by the group, if you go out and you look at the extremes, they're very different. So all of the most agreeable people are women, and all of the most disagreeable people are men. And the thing is, the extremes are often what matter rather than what's in the middle. And so one of the ways that's reflected in society, by the way, is there's way more men in prison. And the best personality predictor of being imprisoned is to be low in agreeableness. It makes you callous. Now you might think, well, what's the opposite of compassion and politeness? And the answer to that is,
what
I think it's best sort of conceptualized
the hell is he talking about?
As a trading game. So let's say that we're going to play repeated trading games. And if you're very agreeable, then you're going to bargain harder on my behalf than you're going to bargain on your own behalf. Whereas if you're very disagreeable, you're going to do the reverse. You're going to think, I'm in this trading game for me, and you're going to take care of your own interests. Where an agreeable
this
person
thought
is going to say,
experiment
no, no,
sucks.
at best, this is, at worst, this has to be 50-50, but I'd like to help you every way I can. One of the things you have to be careful of if you're agreeable is not to be exploited, because you'll line up to be exploited. And I think the reason for that is because you're wired to be
So if you're
exploited
nice,
by infants.
you're setting yourself up to be exploited.
So that just doesn't work so well in that actual world. And one of the
And
things,
women
that
are more
happens very
nice,
often in
so
psychotherapy,
they've been setting
people come to
themselves
psychotherapy
up to
for
be
multiple
exploited.
reasons. But one of them is they often come because they're too agreeable. And so what they get is so-called assertiveness
fault.
training.
It's
Although
their
it's not
fault.
exactly assertiveness that's being trained. What it is the ability to learn how to negotiate on your own behalf. And one of the things I tell agreeable people, especially if they're conscientious, is say what you think.
Agreeable
Tell the truth
people.
about what you think. There's going to be things you think are nasty and harsh. And they probably are nasty and harsh. But they're also probably true. And you need to bring those up to the forefront and deliver the message. And it's not straightforward
you
at all,
agreeable ladies
agreeable
need to
do not like
talk more
conflict.
mad shit.
Not at all. They smooth the water. You know, and you can see,
What is going on?
why that is in accordance with the hypothesis that I've been putting forward. You don't want conflict around infants.
I thought this was
Too
nice
damn
guys
dangerous.
finish last.
You don't want fights to break out. You don't want anything to disturb the relative peace. You know, and if you're also more prone to being hurt physically and perhaps emotionally, you also may be loath to engage in the kind of high-intensity conflict that will solve problems in the short term. Because a lot of
Physical violence?
There's a lot of conflict to solve problems in the short term. And you know, if that can spiral up to where it's dangerous, which it can if it gets uncontrolled, it might be safer
Reading.
in the short term to keep the water smooth and to not delve into those situations where conflict emerges. The problem with that is it's not a very good medium to long-term strategy, right? Because lots of times there are things you have to talk about because they're not going to go away.
Where's my money?
The advantage to having a well-socialized
I've been asking for days now.
Don't let things get in their way. So if you can get a kid who's disagreeable socialized, that person can be quite the creature, you know, because they're very forward-moving in their nature and very difficult to stop. But if you don't
they don't walk backwards very much.
Domesticated, tamed, roughly speaking, by the time they're 4,
Domesticated and tamed.
and that's a big problem.
Isn't that words we use for
your job
animals?
as a parent is to make your child socially desirable by the age of 4. Like you want to burn that into your brain because people don't know
children
that.
animals?
That's your job. And here's why. It's easy if you think about
Dude,
it.
he is
carefully.
pacing, dude.
Imagine
Holy shit, Jordan.
3-year-old
Lay
child,
off the
so sort of
cocaine, my
halfway
dude.
through that initial period of socialization, and you take that child out in public. Okay, what do you want for the child? Who cares about you? What do you want for the child? You want the child to be able to interact with other children and adults.
Dude, why are you
so
so
that
angry?
The children are welcoming and smile and
Who
want
is
to
he
play
yelling
with
at?
him or her,
This is a class,
and so
right?
The adults are happy to see the child and treat him or her properly.
Bro, he ain't motivating shit. He is
Little
threatening
monster
everyone in that
that's
room with
disciplining
physical
them and don't know how to
violence.
do that properly. Then what they're going to do is they're going to experience nothing but rejection from other
So I
children.
dare someone to
false
fucking
smiles
heckle
from
him.
other parents and adults.
I want the Asian kid in the front to heckle so bad.
World where every single face that they see is either hostile or lying.
Please.
And that's not something that's going to be particularly conducive to the mental health or the well-being of your child. Your child can learn a couple simple rules of behavior.
Yo, this is actually
Don't
difficult. I'm
interrupt
not even
adults
gonna
when
lie
they're
right now.
talking
This
too
is
much,
difficult.
and pay attention and try not to hit the other kids over the head with the truck any more than is absolutely necessary. Then and share and play properly.
Yeah.
Then when they meet other
You know,
kids,
when you need to hit other kids
are
with the
gonna try out
truck,
a few little play routines
I
on
need
them,
you to
and
be
that's gonna go
forceful
well,
with
and then
it,
they're gonna
but
go off and socialize each
what's
other
in your
for the
power to do
rest
is
of their
what's in your
lives.
power not to
Because
do.
that's what happens.
Yeah,
Is that from
small
4
child.
years old onwards, the primary socialization with children takes place among other children. And so if the kids don't get in on that early, they don't move into that developmental spiral upwards and they're left behind. And you can imagine how terrible that is, because a 4-year-old will not play with another 4-year-old who's 2. But a 5-year-old,
A 4-year-old will not play with another 4-year-old
right,
who
'cause
is
the
2.
gap is just starting to get unbelievably large. And so the kids start out behind, and then the peers leave them behind, and then those kids are alienated and outside the peer group for the rest of their life.
Is this
Those
how
kids
nice
that
guys
grow up
finish
to be
last?
long-term antisocial. Right? They're already aggressive. It doesn't dip down.
Wait,
Now, what
girls
happens
are
to
the
normal
antisocial
boys,
ones?
roughly speaking? Imagine the aggressive
What?
2-year-old types. They get socialized, so their level of aggression goes down, and then they hit puberty and testosterone kicks in, and bang, levels of aggression go back up. And so that's why males are criminals between the ages roughly of 16 and about 25. So, and it matches the creativity curve, by the way. It's so cool. If you look
It's
at
so
the
cool,
spike
dude.
of creativity among
Dude, it's
men,
so
16 to
cool.
25,
If you see how
it's
creative
supposed
and
to go
violent
down.
dudes get at the
Criminality
age of
matches
16 to
that absolutely
25,
perfectly.
it's the
That's
coolest
quite
shit I've
cool.
ever seen.
So, and part of, so
They get really
testosterone
creative
levels
in their
raise
violence.
the average level
They
of
love
aggression
setting
among
shit on
men.
fire.
More dominance than aggression, actually, and testosterone is by no means all bad. And then it starts to decrease at about age 25 or 26, which is usually when men stop staying up late at night, stop drinking as much, develop a full-time career, and take on the burdens and responsibilities and opportunities that are associated with a long-term partner and family.
Oh, that's when they do it. That's when guys do it. I didn't
Also,
realize.
That's the development of
So from 16 to
what I would
25,
call
we're allowed to be
predatory
as
aggression,
creative
because I
in our
also think
violence
that
as we
the-
want.
The agreeableness distribution
And you could just expect that.
is probably something
And
like
then,
predatory
you know, when we're in
aggression
30s, maybe we'll
versus
get our shit
maternal
together.
sympathy.
Maybe
It's
not.
something like that.
Maybe more
So
violence.
If you look at other, if you
More
look at
fire.
other mammals that are predators, because we're predators as well.
Oh,
as prey
Jesus.
animals. If you look at other animals like bears, the male bear has absolutely nothing to do with the raising of the infants. In fact, the female bears will keep the male the hell away.
Bro.
Because he's likely to kill the
Jordan
infants.
Peterson is
And
the
maybe even-
master at
So there's
fucking
no
animal metaphors.
maternality at all
Dude,
in
animal
solitary
analogies
male
is all
male
Jordan Peterson.
predators. It's really useful to investigate the viewpoints of people who have opposing views to yours.
Yeah, that's what we're
Because they'll tell
trying.
you things, not only will they tell you things you don't know,
Yeah?
they'll also tell you how to see the world in ways that you don't see it.
Yeah, like in
And
the
they'll also
context
have skills
of
that you don't have,
bears.
that you could develop. So for example, if you're an introverted person, it's very useful to watch an extroverted person, because the extroverted person has ways of being in the social world that aren't natural to you, that you can use as to improve your toolkit. And if you're disagreeable, one of the best things to do with disagreeable people, especially if that's alienating them from other people, for example, because it can, you know, people treat you like you're a selfish, arrogant son of a, maybe that's because you are. It's like, okay, so what do you do about that? One of the most promising
This is so terrible.
treatments, let's say, for that is get the person to do something for someone else once a day, just as a practice, and learn how to do it. Maybe you can wake the circuit up, you know, if you think that it's lying dormant in you, which is probably right. You know, I think we have a very wide range of propensities within us. Some are switched on.
I swear
Genetic
he's
propensity.
just
Some are
using a
switched
strings
on,
of
but
words
I
right
think
now.
that if you
Like
put
he is
yourself in the right
literally just using a
situation or walk
string of
yourself through the
words,
right exercises, you can switch some of these other things
and they
on
have
as well.
very little
But it
connection to
takes work and
any of
and
the others
dedication
that he's
and
saying.
discipline. I would say, generally speaking, if you
I'm
want to
glad this
adapt
video
yourself
cuts it
properly
too,
to life, you
because
should find a
it
niche
changes
in the
nothing.
environment that
It just makes
corresponds
it
with your
shorter,
goals.
as it should be.
right? You shouldn't work at cross purposes to your temperament because it's just too damn difficult. But having done that,
Don't do hard stuff.
then you should work on developing the skills and viewpoints that exist in the space opposite to your personality.
Holy shit, I'm telling you guys, anyone that thinks Jordan Peterson is profound,
extend out your temperamental
literally
capability
write out what the
across
fuck
a
he
wider
says and
range.
just see
And to me,
the
that's
words.
roughly
It's so
equivalent to
bad.
bringing a richer toolkit to each situation. You know, so if you're hyper extroverted, you should probably learn to shut up at parties now and then and listen just to see what's going on, to see if you can manage it, you know. And if you're introverted, well, then you should learn how to speak in public and to learn how to go to parties without hiding in the corner.
I'm still not
saying nothing
seeing
to
the
anyone.
connection between
You know,
this
and
and
if
nice
you're agreeable,
guys.
then you need to learn how to be disagreeable so people can't push you around. And if you're disagreeable, you need to
not
learn
his
how
fault,
to
I
be agreeable
know,
so that
but-
you're not an evil son of a bitch. So, and the same thing applies even in the conscientious domain. It's like if you're too conscientious, you need to learn to relax and let go a little bit. And if you're unconscientious, it's time, like, get out the Google Calendar, man, and start scheduling your day, right? And beat yourself on the back of the head with a stick until you're disciplined enough so that you can actually stick to something for some length of time and not living in absolute
I can never
squalor,
differentiate
which is
between
something
if
that
he's trying to
characterize
give
someone who's very
self-help or if he's
disorderly,
just trying to
for
give like the
example, 'cause
most
they just-
mediocre
they don't
advice a
notice.
human
It
could
doesn't bother them.
fathom.
Disorder. It's like maybe they
Make
can
your
see
bed.
it, but it doesn't have any
Tie your shoes.
emotional valence, and so it doesn't have any
See what
motivational
happens.
significance.
I don't know.
You know, so the other thing you might want to think about too if you're choosing a partner is try not to choose someone who's too distant from you on the temperamental variables, because you're going to have a hard time bridging the gap. You know, it's hard for an introverted person and an extroverted person to coexist. And it's really
Really?
hard for an orderly person and a disorderly person to coexist because they will drive each other nuts.
Those
Why
are
don't you pick up?
two completely different
Why are
things.
you so obsessed by it? That's the basic argument, you know. So it's useful to know about your temperament so that you can negotiate the space with your partner as well. And I don't think you should try to find someone
Try to
who's
be as
exactly
similar
the
as your
same
partner
you,
as- oh.
because then you don't have the benefits of the alternative
Bro, he can't
viewpoint.
figure out, he doesn't know
You
what he
gotta
wants to
watch it,
say.
because you may hit Eric
Yo,
Silo's
pick someone that's
differences of various
close to how
sorts.
you are, but
I've
not
seen
too
that
close.
most particularly
But not
among
too far
couples who
either,
are
because that's bad.
high and low in openness. That's a rough one.
Have you ever heard of the
And also
Goldilocks
high and low in
effect?
conscientiousness. That's another rough one, because they just cannot see how the other person sees the world at all.
Bears and sharks, they don't get along together either, I'm telling you. Oh my god, that was horrendous. That was terrible. If anyone watched that with me, you have now lost brain cells. There was no making that better. It was not possible. I apologize. I love you all. Have a good